Once again, greeting. It's Mr. Shange, an economics educator, an author, and a political commentator. Today, breaking from our last conversation on our topic, we are still on economic growth and development. But today, after we have explained the difference between economic growth and development, we are then today looking into the indicators. What are the indicators that determines whether the country's economy is growing or not growing? So here, firstly, we need to understand what is an economic indicator. An economic indicator is a statistics that shows the behavior of an economic variable over a specific period of time. It's just an indicator, like if you are driving a car, then you are indicating that you are going to take a particular direction. That is an indicator. In economy, after you have grown your economy, after you have developed your economy, after you have crafted your policies, then the indicators should show you what are you going. Are you going on the right path or not? So the first indicator will be inflation rate. The inflation rates. Our South African inflation rate is from 3 to 6%. So what is an inflation rate? An inflation rate is defined as a sustained increase in the general price level over a period of time. So meaning, now we are measuring our economy, our growth in terms of inflation, as to whether our people are still affording and buying these goods and buying these services based on inflation rates. If inflation rates this year is 7%, so you have to measure it on our target. Our target is 3 to 6%. So now if it's 7% now, it tells us that we are no longer affording. It means our growth in terms of the economy is going nowhere. So inflation rate is monitored by number one, as a producer level and as a consumer level. The indicator as a producer level is called a production price index, and as a consumer level is called the consumer price index. So in totality, that is inflation rates. So which is the first indicator that will signify whether are we on the right track in terms of growing the economy or are we not. So if our inflation target is being reached, everybody can afford to buy within these particular inflation rates. If the money is still valuable in relation to inflation rates, then this means we are going on a right track. So the second particular indicator will be employment. So the labor force is known as those who are economically active population. So basically those who can be able to work from 15 to 65 years. So now we have to measure in terms of how many are working. So the size of the economically active population is important to calculate the employment rate. So we need to know what is our employment rate. So currently we are far behind because there are many people who are working, so which is not the case of growing the economy. So if there is a low number of people working, it means there will be low number of economic growth levels. So we shouldn't reach a lower level of those who are working, because it means production capabilities will not be reached. So allow employment rates results in low productivity and low growth rates. The South African economy has struggled to create enough employment. This is what I'm trying to say, that our South African economy is not growing, hence we have got a high unemployment rate, because it means there is a low productivity and the economy is growing at a particular low rate. The third one will be the productivity now per labor, production productivity per labor per worker, how much, quality. So productivity in relation to is the ratio between the goods and services produced in the economy and the inputs of resources used to produce them. This is productivity. So real productivity is mostly closely monitored because it is directly related to remuneration per worker. So per worker, that is a productivity per worker. It is an input per worker. What is the contribution of a worker? So we are going to measure the growth of the economy per worker. What is the contribution of a worker who is working for Eskom, who is working for Shoprite, who is working? So that means the direction of the economy is growing or not growing, judging by the contribution per worker. It is the third contributor towards the indicator. Then we have got interest rates. So interest rates are also indicators to find whether the economy is growing or not growing. The interest rate is the price or funds invested, could be lent, it could be borrowed over a certain period of time. If you loan money, if you borrow money, so there will be some interest rates charged there. So now the percentage tells us whether the economy is growing or not growing. In South Africa, interest rate decisions are taken by South African Reserve Bank, so which is called the repo rate. So they decide the interest rates. So as we speak now, the repo rates last week remain unchanged. Even though they are sitting at 11.7%, we cannot afford to pay our bonds. So now if we can't afford to pay our bonds now, then that means that the economy is taking a wrong direction. When people are losing their houses, their cars due to interest rates, then it will tell you that the economy is growing. But if people can afford to pay interest rates, then it is the growth of the economy. So another indicator will be the money supply. So there must be the level of money supply in a country. So money supply in the economy is also an indicator, because how much money is circulating is a result, or is a proof that the economy is growing or not growing. A decline in the money supply will lead to a shortage of money and cause an increase in interest rates. Then we go back there, that if there's a decline in money supply, that will lead to a shortage of money. If there's a shortage of money, that can cause an increase in the interest rate. An increase in the money supply without an increase in the supply of goods and services will then cause an inflation. We have an increase in money supply where we have got too much money chasing few goods. That also leads to what is called an inflation. So this is what normally happens. So then SARB, whenever they supply money, they will always consider the following. One, there is something called M1. So how much coins and notes are in circulation? This is called M1. Then M2, in addition to M1, they will also include the short and medium-term deposits in the banking sector. So now they are following the money supply in a particular period. So how much coins, how much notes, that is M1. So now when we include now short and term and medium-term deposits, it will also fall under M2. Then M3, this is equal to M2 plus long-term deposits. So those long-term deposits are now included in M3, in the banking sector, where we want to know how much money is in circulation. Those which are short and medium-term, long-term deposits are also included. Now the difference would be what is in M1, what is in M2, and also what is in M3. So basically, economic indicator, it is what it is all about here, where we are trying to check as to whether when is our country growing, are we going on the same direction in terms of growing economy, or are we not? So we are looking into these indicators. The indicators, in summary, where we are looking into inflation rates as an indicator, we are looking into employment as an indicator, we are looking into productivity as an indicator, we are looking into interest rates as an indicator, we are looking into money supply as an indicator. Then you have to compare with what is happening in our country, where we can argue that there is a high unemployment, meaning the growth of the economy is going nowhere. There is a high rate of crime. The money supply is supplied less, so there is that particular decline in the growth of the economy. let me conclude by saying have a lovely day. Thank you.